stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. You know, that's a great old hymn, the old rugged cross. And it really is kind of an ironic hymn because it talks about not the crosses that we normally see in our churches, you know, those shiny or the brass cross that we have up in the front of our church, but it really was an old rugged cross. And the author of that song, George Bernard, knew exactly what Jesus was going through when he was despised. In fact, let me read some scripture to you, starting with Luke chapter 23 and starting with verse 35. This is when Jesus was on the cross and the reaction of the people to Jesus up on that old rugged cross. The people stood watching, and the rulers even sneered at him. They said, "He saved others. Let him save himself, if he is the Christ of God, the chosen one." The soldiers also came up and mocked him. They offered him wine vinegar and said, "If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself." And of course, this was all prophesied years ago by the prophet Isaiah. He says in chapter 53, speaking of the future Messiah, "He was oppressed and afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and familiar with suffering, like one from whom men hide their faces. He was despised, and we esteemed him not." Well, hello friends, this is Pastor Russ again, and it's time today on Wednesday for another hymn story. And the hymn I have for you today, of course, is the old rugged cross. What a great old hymn of the faith. And it really does talk about the realities that Christ went through. He was despised, and he did suffer. And that's really how this story of the song really happened as well. It was in 1912, and the songwriter, George Bernard, was a Methodist evangelist, and he had just come from an evangelistic meeting where he was mocked and made fun of, ridiculed by some in the crowd. And so he went home and he wrote the first verse of that song. "On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame." And isn't that something, how that cross that was really an instrument of death and destruction has now become a symbol of hope for so many people. And we all agree with Bernard when he wrote, "And I love that old cross where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain." So over the year 1912, George Bernard continued to work on the song, and he got it finished later in that year. And on the last night of his evangelistic tour, he premiered this song, and it's become, I think, a favorite of so many people. And I'd like to sing it for you now, "The Old Rugged Cross." And if you want, I encourage you to sing along. On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross, till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. To the old rugged cross I will ever be true, its shame and reproach gladly bear. Then he'll call me someday to my home far away, where his glory forever I'll share. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. And exchange it someday for a crown. Well, thank you for listening, friends, and I hope you enjoyed that hymn. And I hope you can continue to watch these Facebook posts and to check out the podcast that'll be coming this weekend, a brand new one. I think it's really exciting, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So have a great day today, and may God bless.